Hey guys!
Hello!
Another sequel, once again. This time,
Alien 3
by David Fincher. Now, Alien 3 from 1992 was, I guess, a highly expected sequel. At least for me it would have been, because as we all know, Aliens was a great movie. So, Alien 3, I thought, yeah, this time it's getting serious. Even more serious. Not quite.
Well, the funny thing is that before I actually saw the full movie, because I didn't really fully understand it when I first heard of Alien 3, I've only seen bits and pieces of it when I was a kid. And when I first saw these bits and pieces, they were like really quick scenes, like a major scene, like in the plot where you have main characters running around and they're trying to escape the beast, the alien itself. And the alien design was much different back then. It was a lot more puppeteered CGI. Early CGI, and then there were, of course, the close-in jaw close-ups, and that stuff gave me nightmares for weeks, so I didn't see it until I was 13, 14 years old.
Yeah. I came across this movie right after I've seen Aliens because, when I got the movies, I got them all at the same time. I bought the quadrilogy pack. And, needless to say, I was disappointed with this one. Alien 3 is where the franchise started going down. But who's to blame for this? The filmmaker?
No.
Hardly the filmmaker.
Nah.
I mean, in defense of David Fincher, who is a great movie maker, I mean, here are some movies of his that I love. He did Seven, The Game. Those two movies are great. Fight Club is a classic too. I'm dying to see that. These movies are all great. So how did this one turn out so bad? First off, this was his first movie. You know how I would be if someone were to come up to me and say, "Hey, you ever heard of Aliens?" I say, "Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies." And he would say, "Yeah,
you want to do a sequel?"
Want to make a sequel? I would like, no.
Yeah, you gotta understand too, at the time, David Fincher, he was not a movie director. He was a commercial director.
Didn't he do music videos or something?
He did that too, and then Fox saw his work, and they were like, oh, well, let's get this guy. I bet he'd be good for it. And yeah, so this was his first movie.
They basically got a rookie, and they expected him to make a masterpiece. Guys, do the math.
He did the best that he could do under a really shitty time deadline, and
who's to blame? Fox.
Of course.
For reasons we already explained in the last movie.
Not a whole lot of money to work with, and of course they kept having so many, like, cutovers. You know, they would start doing, they would shoot scenes. No, in fact, David Fincher told me they would be shooting scenes as soon as he wrote out the script.
He told you?
No, I heard about it.
Oh, okay.
No, it was behind the scenes. As soon as he wrote out the script and the screenplay, that's when they would shoot the movie. That's how bad it was. They didn't have a script on standby. I mean, he had to basically do everything as he wrote it down. That's how bad it was. Not to mention this, that really pissed me off. H.R. Geiger was hired on to do parts of the creature design and other designs.
Which is different this time, once again, but this time is very different.
Obviously. But before we get into that, I just want to point this out from behind the scenes. Geiger made so many creature designs for this movie, and they were beautiful designs. I would have loved to see this one design where he had an alien, and instead of having an inner jaw thing, it had a really long snake-like tongue, and it would rip the person's brains out or something whenever they came into a mouth-to-mouth contact. I know it's really gruesome and all, but that's just how Geiger is. He's always been gruesome. But unfortunately, thanks to Fox, they told him that it was too much work for them. They wouldn't have enough time to make all this, and so they basically just took one design of Geiger's work. This pissed Geiger off so much that he did not do any more work with Fox ever. Up until now, Prometheus that is coming out, which I think the only reason why Geiger is back on is because Ridley Scott asked him personally.
Yeah, well, guys, as you might remember my Why It Sucks review of Alien 3 the NES game, right? It's a good idea executed poorly, and that's the same thing here. They wanted to make a sequel to one of the best movies of all time, and it just doesn't work out. But what is the story? Well, right from the start, the movie pisses you off because, spoiler, The opening scene depicts how a fire breaks out on the Sulaco, where Ripley, Newt, and Hicks, and Bishop managed to get back on after the last movie. So they're on the ship, fire breaks out, and they get jettisoned. Now they're on some lifeboat, and they're about to crash on a planet we never saw before.
Yeah.
And what happens? They crash into the ocean, and everybody's dead. I'm not...
Except for one.
Of course, Ripley survives, but everybody else is dead. You know how pissed I was? They killed a little girl we started to like in the last movie. She survived hundreds of aliens in the second movie, but a fucking crash on a stupid prison planet kills her. Hicks dies as well, and I heard that they... Like, for the body of Hicks, they supposedly used his face or something. You don't see it in the movie, but here's the thing. Michael Biehn, the guy who played Hicks in the last movie, was very pissed about this because nobody bothered asking him.
He was extremely pissed. He said, if you want to use my picture, you better frickin' pay me for it, because I cannot believe you killed me off, you bastards.
They killed him off screen nonetheless, and the same with Newt. I was so pissed. Oh, and Bishop is damaged beyond repair. I mean, he was fucked up after he got stabbed by the Alien Queen, but now he's worthless now.
He's screwed. He's scrapped, basically.
So everything we got accustomed to in the last movie is dead within the first 60 seconds. That is a good way to piss off your fans right from the first movie minute, Fox. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks. But here's something I noticed about this third movie. In the first one, it was claustrophobically, panickily scared. In the second one, it was adrenaline pumping action.
This one,
vibrant.
I give it that. This one goes back to the roots.
This one, it doesn't so much just does that. It goes from pumping action to presently scary and just horribly depressing.
It's a very depressing movie. It's a depressing setting. It has a depressing beginning, and trust me, the payoff is not much better either. But you will see that for yourself. So plot is Ripley stranded on this planet, and it's a prison colony, and it's all guys. We know where that leads. And supposedly they are all more or less not killing each other because there's some religious cult.
They have a religious cult where they...
That made no sense to me.
They basically believe in, by not doing any violent things, and they support each other, that God will forgive them of all their sins and stuff, something like that. It's just some kind of Christian Catholic cult of theirs.
I'm sorry, when I saw this, I didn't buy it. Sorry, I just don't buy this bullshit.
Of course
no
not.
Prison colony in the future would have no guns whatsoever, because guess what? There's no guns on this fucking planet. You tell me you have a fucking prison colony without guns?
It's a prison planet that basically the entire Earth globe or Earth sanctuary has forgotten, because the only supplies they ever get is from one boat, one ship every other month. It's been quoted by one of the characters who played, what was his name? He was a doctor,
Charles Dance, he plays Clemens. Who's
yeah.
probably the only worthwhile character in this entire movie besides Ripley.
And besides Charles S. Dudson, who plays Dylan, I like him too.
I didn't
personally.
even care for him too much. I mean, it's okay, but, you know...
I liked him because he was a badass.
I mean, compared to the cast of Aliens, it's laughable. I don't... these two, maybe I did care for them, and of course Ripley, but... We have so many prisoners here, some of them with familiar faces, but none of them are given any screen time to develop a character. Besides, these are all rapists, killers, murderers,
child molesters.
Yeah, why would we care for this scum? Let them die. I didn't care for them, and this is exactly what the movie does. The one alien somehow survived the last movie. It's like there was an egg on the lifeboat. How did it get there? Who put it there and when? It's not the Alien Queen. The Alien Queen never left the hangar.
A lot of fans would argue that maybe the Queen did it, like real quickly. Others would argue that maybe Bishop wasn't all he was cracked up to be.
Yeah, the Queen did.
It's a lot of fan-oriented. Nobody knows how the damn egg got there. It was never explained.
Okay, with all respect to the fans, but explain me this. The Queen, right when the first time we saw it, was climbing out of the landing gear of the dropship. She never had the time to get that egg anywhere. And why would she put it into the exact same fucking lifeboat they would use much later on? That's in a completely different part of the ship.
No. The egg happened to hatch before the fire.
Are you Yeah, but when did the Queen bring it there? I already
I
told
don't know. I don't know.
The first time we see her is emerging from the ship. You're telling me it walked through across the entire ship to find this lifeboat and plant an egg onto a fucking wall.
I couldn't tell where the egg was, to be honest.
It was planted on a wall.
I know
saw
it was
that.
planted on a wall.
And it must have been in the lifeboat because that is what jettisoned and that's where the facehugger was in.
Okay, but moving on here, some major flaws that I noticed with
plot
this
hole,
movie.
A big plot hole that is never explained, but the entire movie is based on. Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. But here are my problems. Other than that, I don't like the fact that just about every character, aside from Ripley, Dylan, and Clemens, I can't identify anyone. Everyone has the same
They
bald
all
look.
look the same clothing. Even the set looks the same all the time. It's all this crap brown, grayish, metallic. That is the color scheme from this
Rusty.
movie. This movie is brown. I mean, browner than Call of Duty. So, yeah, and the same goes with the alien. We have a new design this time because the alien, surprise, cannot find a human host in time. Instead, it goes for an ox or a dog, depending on what movie version you watch.
Yeah, you get director's cut or...
But if you want to see this movie, and you want it to be any decent, watch the extended cut because it's much better. Because the cinematic cut, as far as I'm concerned, is nothing but a gore fest.
But I have to admit, I still like the alien design itself. Again, this was Geiger's design.
It was a cool design, and it made sense.
He literally called it the Bambi alien because it ran on 4 legs, and it loved running on 4 legs. It was a slow killer, though.
Yeah, it's not as strong as the human spawn ones, which we all know as the normal aliens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a different alien this time with a different look, but the guy in the suit is still the same, which is cool. That is Tom Woodruff Jr. for you. For all who didn't know, he played the alien in Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, and both AVP movies. This guy is the secret star of the movie because he gets to play the alien.
Aside from the first Alien movie, this guy
The
always...
first one, it was someone else.
He's always played the alien costume, the main alien costume. So
Yeah,
he's well known.
it's pretty cool. So what happens? They found several people got killed, and it turns out that this was indeed must have been the fault of an alien because it's loose again, and Ripley tries to convince the prison administration that an alien is among them. Of course, they don't believe her at first.
Until the bastard gets killed off himself.
Until the prison chief gets killed himself.
Yeah.
God drops her. So, what does this tell us?
It's basically a fight for survival without guns.
What does this teach you? If there's a monster running around, do not stand under the fucking air vents. Especially when they have a hole that's big enough for a whole man to fit through. So, there you go. Another lesson learned.
What's up with the vents being big enough to drag a man through it?
And why are these idiots keep using vents that are this big? Make them so small the alien can't go through them. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're just ranting about little issues here, but these are my big issues. Later on in the movie, they try their best to kill this thing, which is easier said than done. Because there's no guns, and you want to hit this thing with a knife? I don't think so.
I wouldn't do it.
You only get yourself killed. And, so, company, Wellington Tani, they get to hear that the creature might be on there because they want to hear when help arrives or how to terminate the fucking thing. But no, they still want the creature for themselves,
of
so
course.
They sent a team in there. And in the meantime, we get more or less what you expect. We have a whole bunch of prisoners here, so what happens? They get killed by the minute here. It's like the last half of the movie is nothing but people running around, getting chased by the alien constantly.
But that was actually my favorite part of the movie.
Not mine, and I will explain you why. You know, I like bodies that have a body count. But, unfortunately, in this movie, it is done in a wrong way. First off, we get to see the perspective of the alien, constantly. If you watch a horror movie, the last thing you want to know is what is the monster doing. You want to be surprised, right? You want jump scares. It doesn't help when I'm seeing the alien vision half of the time, and even here they cheated because they use nothing but a fisheye perspective.
Okay, but I would argue this is the first time they ever did this in an alien movie. I thought
and
that
the last time, in fact.
Okay, fine, it was the last time, but I still thought that was a cool trick.
It was a cool trick. It's just you don't use that in an alien movie, and not this constantly. It's okay if it's there like once, But other than that, it's just...
I liked that effect, okay? I liked it. I don't care what you say. I like that effect.
I like surprises in horror movies, that's what I'm saying. So you have people that have no personality as far as us viewers are concerned, getting killed by this thing by the minute. Do we care? No. What is good about it? Well, I guess this movie has decent gore. It's pretty gory compared to the first two, but that's it. This movie is nothing but a slaughterhouse. So, we have useless characters getting killed. The good ones, of course, survive till the end. And, well, here is the cool thing. Spoiler! The way they kill the creature is pretty original. They dump it in cooking hot lead. It jumps out, then it gets hit by cold water, and you know what happens when when extremely hot metal hits water? It ruptures, and yeah, the whole thing explodes, and which is cool. Back when I saw it, I didn't get it, but now that I thought about it, I think I understand. I assume that the aliens, well, shell, because it has an exoskeleton. It's metal-like, so it's heated up, and then it's hit by something hot, and of course, boom, it explodes. Spontaneous combustion, I would say. So, the alien explodes. There's no way it could ever go on here. But, big twist, another very big spoiler. If you ever want to see the movie, don't listen from here on. Ripley dies. Now, I have to talk about this. It's unavoidable. I was very sure that that when she dies, that this was it. And there's a reason why she dies. It's not that she gets killed by the alien ultimately. No, she kills herself. Because we find out, oh god, she's pregnant with an alien queen nonetheless. So,
dum dum dum.
So if that thing were to hatch, the events from aliens would probably repeat themselves more or less.
Of course it would.
So she kills herself, which is the only right thing to do. Cool thing is that the representative of a company here was played by Lance Henriksen, and his name in the credits is listed as Bishop II. It is not obvious whether he's a human or synthetic, but judging from the fact that he really bleeds, I guess he was human. Which, of course, when you think about AVP1, now we have a big problem. Lance Henriksen is a human, and he's in both movies that are hundreds of years apart.
People would argue that maybe he's an early ancestor then.
I mean, a very late
ancestor.
Probably,
That's the only argument I have. I don't have anything to boast of.
So yeah, there's no way this guy's a synthetic. This guy is real. They sent him there for a reason.
Okay.
I assume this is just a guy they modeled the synthetics after. But so anyway.
Yeah. IMDb gave this movie a rating of 6.3. You say that's accurate?
I would say, yeah. I'm sad to say, but I'm not surprised at this rating, because I expected it to be worse actually. But hey, it was still, the ending made sense, at least. And Ripley's dead. Can't go on from here, right? Sorry to disappoint you. No. It goes on. Alien Resurrection.
Yep.
Which we're gonna review next.
Yep.
It's not gonna be fun.
Nope.
So,
well,
let's just say I didn't expect a sequel after this, especially after how it bombed and because of its ending, but it's still there. So what do I rate this little disappointment here? Okay, granted, I don't blame David Fincher for doing this. It was his first movie. It still was decent for a first movie, you know, but as a follow-up to Alien's complete disappointment. But it's still better than Alien Resurrection, so I would give Alien 3 a 6.5. I think this is the highest I can give it because of major flaws. Besides, the CGI is crap. I know this is early CGI, but it still looks really bad. Should stick to animatronics.
I would still argue that it's still early CGI. And again, this is his first movie, so I'm not gonna curse on the CGI here. I'd give it a 7, because even though it's extremely depressing and it kind of drags through the whole movie of giving it a bit of that horror suspense you would get in the first movie, my favorite scene, and I'm sorry to argue with you on this, Xeno, but I love the climax chase scene where everyone was getting killed off one by one in order to lure this thing into the Leadworks complex, because I love the interaction between the prisoners as they're trying to run for their lives and trap this thing. Like one of them was screaming, "This thing is really pissed off!"
Okay, let me explain why I don't like that scene. Technically, it is a great scene. Like camera work is good, effects are good. It's all good. It just doesn't fit an alien movie. In the first movie, you never see the creature, and when it attacks, it scares the living shit out of you. And for a movie that goes back to a formula of having one alien versus everybody, they should not have used this. They should have used jump scares, as cheap as it might be, but it worked on the first one. Should have done that again.
Oh, blah.
Sorry, that's just my opinion.
You're no fun.
Sometimes less is more.
I like this. I like the scene, so So yeah, that's my rating. 7 out of 10.
6.5. IMDb says 6.3. I guess we're more or less in the same boat here.
Yeah.
So get ready for Alien Resurrection because it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Uh-huh.
See you then, guys.
Adios.